Hello students, welcome to my next video. Today we will learn various scaling techniques. I Dr. Rohan Devale welcome you all. The subject is Business Research Methods. This is online lecture series, lecture number 21. Scaling techniques. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for further notifications. Learning questions for today's session. What are the various scaling techniques used in research? And we will also see what are various examples of scaling techniques used in research. We will start our session with the concept of scaling. Scaling is the procedure for measuring and assigning the objects to the numbers according to the specified rules. Scaling is the process of locating the measured objects on the quantum, a continuous sequence of numbers to which the objects are assigned is called as scaling. We will see the definition of scaling. Scaling is an extension of measurement. In my previous video, we have seen what is the concept of measurement in research. So scaling is an extension of measurement. Types of scaling, types of rating scales. There are various types of rating scales we will learn today. Likert scale, semantic differential scale, constant sum scale, graphical scale, ranking scale, paired comparison scale, and force ranking. So these are various 7 types of rating scale that we will learn. We will start with Likert scale. A Likert scale is a scale used to measure the attitude wherein the respondents are asked to indicate the level of agreement or disagreement with the statements related to the stimulus scale. The Likert scale was named after its developer René Likert. The difference between these two concepts has to do with the distinct Likert made between the underlying phenomenon being investigated and that means of capturing variation that points to the underlying phenomenon. It is typically a 5 response category like this. It is typically a 5 response category scale ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. Scale can be 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 1 to 7, etc. The example of Likert scale. The purpose of Likert scale is to identify the attitude of people towards the given stimulus objects by asking them the extent to which they agree or disagree with them, or their opinion or belief. Question number. Please rate the importance of the communication skills in an interview. Suppose this was the question asked to the respondents and the options are communication skills are not applicable, communication skills are not very important, somewhat important, important, or communication skills are very important. So this is the Likert scale example where the Likert scale of 1 to 5 is given to the respondent. So students now have to click on any option that his opinion is. In the same example, please rate the importance of communication skill and interview. Now we are assigning some weights to each and every scale element. So not applicable is assigned weight 1, not very important assigned weight 2, somewhat important the weight is assigned is 3, important for this parameter the assignment of the weight is 4, and for very important 5 this weight is assigned. Likert scale example, again we will take example of 1 to 5. Suppose the statement is like this: I am satisfied with the telecom services provided by my service provider. So the options can be strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree. So we can assign 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 weights to the state Likert scale. Now respondent can click over any of the response. Suppose I am satisfied with the telecom service providers provided by my telecom service provider, then I can click on agree if I am agree with the statement. Similarly, the same options of the Likert scale can be reversed like this. The statement is same, but the options are exactly reversed. So we are starting with strongly disagree, then disagree, neutral, agree, and strongly agree. So this can be also a Likert scale, where in the first case we are starting with strongly agree, that is positive, and we are ending with strongly disagree, that is negative parameter. But same can be exactly reversed. We can start with strongly disagree and we can end with strongly agree. Again, weight can be reversed, like strongly disagree can be given weight as 1, then 2, 3, 4, and 5. Such type of weights can be assigned. So this is the example of Likert scale, where scale is from 1 to 5. For the similar example, if the same statement is there, but if I am going to choose a scale like this, strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree. Here I am omitting the response strongly disagree, then this is wrong. You cannot do this. This will cause measurement error. Again, in the same statement, if I shuffle the responses like this, strongly disagree, then strongly agree, then disagree, neutral, and agree, then again this type of shuffle is also wrong. This will generate a measurement error. We will take Likert scale example, where scale is 1 to 3. The statement is, I want to pursue education after my MBA course. The options can be definitely yes, not sure, and definitely no. We can assign weight 1, 2, and 3 in this statement. So definitely yes will be assigned 1, not sure will be assigned 2, and definitely no will be assigned 3. Why we are assigning weight, that we will see in next videos. Likert scale examples. This is the example of 1 to 7 Likert scale, where strongly agree, agree, more or less agree, undecided, more or less disagree, disagree, and strongly disagree. The scale has been used 1 to 7. Again, I will take one example of the Likert scale, where 1 to 10 scale is used. So strongly disagree is at 1 and strongly agree is at number 10. So respondent can click on any of the option between 1 to 10. So 9 specifies that he is towards like 90% agree with the statement, and 10 will specify he is 100% agree with the statement, and so on. So this is about Likert scale. Now we will start with the next, that is semantic differential scale. Semantic differential scale is a type of rating scale designed to measure the connotative meaning of the objects, events, and concepts. The connotations are used to derive the attitude towards the given object, event, or concepts. Osgood's semantic differential was an application of his more general attempt to measure the semantic or meaning of words, particularly objects, and their reference concepts. The respondents here is asked to choose where his or her opinion lies on a scale between two polar objectives. These two polar objectives will be strong or weak, good or bad exactly. So that is two exactly opposite polars. Semantic differential can be used to measure opinion, attitude, and values on a psychometric controlled scale. Characteristics of semantic differential scales. It has two poles. Both poles show exact opposite characteristics. Fixed scale of 7, that is scale of 1 to 7, and mean is captured after the response. So example of semantic differential scale we will take now. The example 1 is, rate the current student representative on each of the following dimensions. Suppose teacher is there and teacher has to rate the current student's representative, then the scale might be like this: strong to weak. So strong is at one pole and weak is at another pole. Similarly, good, bad, intelligent, and dumb. In between, there is a scale of 7, -3, -2, -1. In between, there is a 0 for neutral, then +1, +2, and +3. Here, the respondent has to click whether, if the student is extremely strong, then the respondent will click to -3. If the student is a bad student, then the respondent will click to +3. If the respondent does not know whether the student is intelligent or dumb, he may click to the 0. Similarly, semantic differential scales can be used. We will take another example. Rate your opinion after you visit to a restaurant. So, about the services of the restaurants. Worst services will be -3 and excellent services will be +3. Similarly, two exactly bipolar various parameters we will identify like this: inedible food or delicious food, unpleasant ambience or pleasant ambience. So there are three parameters and respondents have to click between -3 to +3. Suppose the food is extremely delicious, then I will put +3. If the ambience is not that pleasant ambience, then I may put to +1. So depending on the response, I will click between -3 to +3. So this is the again example of semantic differential scale. Now in the same, rate your opinion after you visit to a restaurant. Suppose I will choose this parameters like worst service and excellent service, and in between I will swap. The next parameter I will swap, like delicious food is a positive attribute, I will take at left hand side, and inedible food, that is a negative characteristics or parameter or attribute, I will put at right hand side. Again I will shift unpleasant and pleasant, like negative to positive. But this is the wrong. Okay, you cannot do this. All positive attributes will be at one side, maybe left or maybe right, and all negative attributes will be on the opposite side. So this is about semantic differential scale. Here the limitations are: the semantic differential scale requires respondents that are intelligent and cooperative. It requires respondents with a good knowledge of language, who are willing to able to feel the fine distinctions. It would not appropriate for children unless presented in the simplest format. Now we will move towards next scale, that is constant sum scale. We will move towards constant sum scale. Now we will first of all see the definition of constant sum scale. The constant sum scaling is a technique wherein the respondents are asked to allocate a constant sum of units, such as points, dollars, chips, or chits among the stimulus objects according to some specified criteria. In other words, a scaling technique that involves the assignment of a fixed number of units to each attribute of objects, reflecting the importance a respondent attached to it. It is called as constant sum scaling. Now we will see various characteristics of constant sum scale. Here, relative weights are assigned as per the importance of the parameter. Here, equal importance of attributes can be indicated through equal weightage. This is useful for the study of attitudes and behavior pattern of the respondents, and you have to remember that total weights are 100 points only. So you cannot go for 50 points or 200 points. The total weight should be exactly 100. Here the limitations is like this: only few attributes can be taken into consideration, as more attributes can increase the complexity of the study. So suppose there are 15 or 20 attributes for a study, then you cannot take 50 or 20 attributes. It will be very complex. You can take, but it will be complex. So ideally, 5, 6, 7 such type of attributes will be ideal for this study. So we will take one example of constant sum scale. Consider so-called model, that is service quality model. Weights are assigned to so-called model and attributes as follows. So note that so-called model is a famous service quality model proposed by Parshuraman, Zemith and Berry in 1985. Here the 5 dimensions were considered for the study of service quality. These 5 dimensions are tangible, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, and empathy. Respondents in the survey are asked to mark their opinion about the service quality, maybe of the Likert scale 1 to 5 or 1 to 7, After that, researcher will assign pre-decided weights as per his or her expertise to each dimension given below. Suppose that is of a food quality or a restaurant, then service parameters, tangibility, reliability, responsiveness, empathy, and assurance will have different weightage. For banking service, the weightage will be different. For telecom service, the weightage will be different. So the experts or the researcher will assign the weights. Here, the weights are assigned. Suppose this is the example of telecom services, then here the tangibility in the telecom services is having less weightage or less important compared to the reliability and responsiveness. So here tangible is assign the weight as 10, reliability and responsiveness 30 and 30 respectively. Also assurance is 20 weight, and for empathy 10 weight is assigned. So total 10 plus 30 plus 30 plus 20 plus 10, that comes out to be 100. After the data collection, mean is calculated dimension-wise, and this mean will be multiplied by the weights assigned for the final data interpretation. So we are not now looking for the data interpretation and data analysis. We are just into the scaling techniques. So this is constant sum scale where the total 100 has to be assigned to the various dimensions. So if you think, or if a researcher thinks that all the five parameters is having, or all the five attributes is having equal weight, then he can assign 20, 20, 20, 20, and 20. All can be assigned, all dimensions can be assigned equal weight. So this is about constant sum scale. Now next is graphic rating scale. This is very simple. Graphic rating scale is a graphical or pictorial representation of a scale. In this method, traits or dimensions that are important in the data collection are listed out, and each response is rated against these traits. The rating helps the respondents to quantify the opinion displayed. Here the characteristics are graphic or pictorial representation. The respondents tick, circle, or shade the appropriate response, and less time required to develop these scales. Here the limitations can be: it can generate judgmental error where the rating behavior may or may not be accurate, as the perception of behaviors might vary with the judges. Also, difficulty rating. Rating against the labels like excellent or poor is difficult at times, even tricky, as the scale exi- does not uh, identify the ideal behavior required for achieving a rating. So we will see some examples of graphic rating scale. Suppose the questions are like this: are you satisfied with after sale services provided by this company? Then instead of writing I'm extremely satisfied and neutral, or I'm extremely dissatisfied, we can replace that response with these smileys. So first smiley specifies he's happy, then middle one specifies that he's neutral opinion, and the last smiley will specify that he's not happy with the services. Then next question, are you satisfied with the quality of the product? Then again respondent has to click on any of the option whether he's satisfied, neutral, or dissatisfied. So this is about graphic rating scale. We will take another example. Suppose sample question for the exit interview of the employee who has resigned. So in many of the organization, exit interview is taking place. Now rate your experience while working with the company, and here the smileys can be there, like first smiley will be excellent, then good experience, unhappy, bad, unbearable, and worst experience. So the exit employee can tick mark to any of the smiley, and the response can be further analyzed. So this is about graphic rating scale. Now we will move towards the next scale, that is ranking scale. Here the direct comparison between two or more attributes is there. Scaling emerged from the social sciences in an attempt to measure or order attributes with respect to quantitative attributes or traits. Scaling provides a mechanism for measuring abstract concepts. A comparative scale is an ordinal or rank order scale that can be referred to as a non-metric scale. Respondents evaluate two or more objects at one time, and the objects are directly compared with each other as a part of measuring process. Now we will take example, compare A with B. Let's say A and B are two smartphones. If A equal to 70% and B got 30%, then obviously we will say that A is better than B. Thus, with the help of comparison, ranks can be given or assigned. So this is the simple example where only two objects or two persons are there, and we have to directly compare A with B or X with Y. We will take another example. Rank the following. Rank 1 is highest to 5, that is 5 indicates lowest. Question: what do you feel about the film? And suppose there are options like story, acting, music and dialogue. And fifth option is suppose cinematography. Okay. Then respondents has to click like, if I like the story, then story will be given as 1, that is rank 1, that is highest. Then music rank 2, then dialogue will be given rank 4, acting will be given rank 5, and if I don't like the cinematography, then I will give rank 5 to, that is lowest to the cinematography. So this is how ranking scale can be there. Then later on you can do some mean values, and highest and lowest can be find out after the response of 100 or more than 100 respondents. So this is about ranking scale. Now next is paired comparison scale. Ranking becomes more reliable and easier under the paired comparison method. Each worker is compared, suppose we will take one example, each worker is compared with all other employees in the group. After every trait, the worker is compared with all other employees or all other workers in the same department. We will take this example. There are 5 employees to be compared. Suppose A, B, C, D, E are 5 employees. A's performance is compared with B's performance, and the decision is arrived at who is better or who is worse than each other. Then B will be compared with A, C, D and E, and so on. One matrix will be formed. So matrix will look like this. So compare A with A, then B with B, C with C, D with D and E with E. So same employee cannot be compared with same employee. So A, B, B, C, C, D, D and E, E will be blank. Now we will take row wise. Consider first row. A employee is compared with A, so the matrix is blank. Now A employee is compared with B, and positive sign indicates A is superior than B. And here the trait of comparison is quantity of work. So A is producing more output than B. Now A is compared with C. We are seeing the first row only. So A is compared with C. Now the symbol is minus, that means A is producing less items than C. Similarly, A is compared with D, that indicates plus sign indicates A is producing more quantity of work than D. And if A is compared with E, then suppose minus sign is there, that indicates A is producing less items or quantity of work is lesser than E. So similarly, entire matrix can be formed, and from that we can easily understand each and every comparison between the employees. So this is how paired comparison can be expressed. Now next is forced ranking. There are lot of surveys questions that allows you to collect more actionable data. A forced ranking scale or forced choice scale is one of them. A forced choice scale is a rating scale that does not allow for an undecided, neutral, or I don't know or no type of options for the response. That's why it is called as force ranking scale. Suppose we will take one example. Employees are divided into three groups: A, B, and C. A group stands for the employees who are most engaged, motivated, passionate, and open to collaboration and committed. Mark them into top 20 categories. B group stands for the employees who not engaged or not motivated but crucial to the employee's success because they are so abundant. Mark them into middle category, that is 70% category. And last, that is group C, stands for employees who are commonly non-producing practitioners. Mark them to the below 10% category. Now here, if these parameters we have taken and we have categorized into top A, B, and C categories. Now, if you want to do performance appraisal, and this performance appraisal will be linked to the salary hike, then we can say that for A category, there will be 10% of the salary hike. I'm just taking that example. For B group, there will be 5% of the salary hike, and for C group, no salary hike will be there for this particular year. So similarly, we can use the force ranking as an example. So learning outcomes for today's session. Today we have seen various scaling techniques in the research. Those scaling techniques are Likert scale, semantic differential scale, constant sum scale, graphical scale, ranking, paired comparison, and force ranking. We have also seen various examples of scaling techniques. Lot of examples we have seen how to frame the scales. So what is next? In my next video, we will understand the important concept in research, that is reliability and validity. Don't miss the next lecture. Till then, keep thinking, keep learning. Keep watching my channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, and turn on the bell icon for further notifications. I wish you all the best for your studies. These are some references I have used for preparing this video. Thank you.